here we're looking at the exact same data that we used to make a scatter plot and fit a line by hand. And now we're going to see how to do the same thing on the calculator. Now, on this page in the notes, we have step-by-step instructions for how to do this. But rather than read through the step-by-step instructions, I'm going to walk through actually doing it on the calculator. So, our first step is to enter the data into lists. This is the same way that we did in the statistics unit. So I hit the Stat key, and now I choose Edit. If you currently have anything stored in your lists, you can clear that out for now. And we're going to go through and enter the X values in list 1, the Y values in list 2. Of course, you can use any lists you want. If you use different list numbers, you'll just have to enter different list numbers at the next steps. So our X values, we have a 28, a 17, a 23, a 26, 16, 13, 15, 21, and 19. Our Y values, we have 264, 176, 224, 248, 168, 144, 160, 208, and 192. And as I go through and proofread these a little bit, I'm looking for my X values and Y values being entered correctly, but I'm also looking for them being lined up with each other. So, for instance, when X was 16, Y was 168. That pair went together in my table. That pair is together in my calculator. Okay, so I have my values entered. I want to get a scatter plot next. Here's how I'm going to get a scatter plot. I'm going to go into the Stat Plots screen on the calculator. So I'm going to hit second, followed by Y equals. I'm going to select my first plot, and I'm going to turn it on. We have various types of plots here. Right now we're interested in the very first option, the scatter plot. So I'm going to go down to Type, and if it's not already selected, I'm going to select the very first option, a scatter plot. You might currently have the box plot selected because we did that recently. We want to have the scatter plot selected. And then we're prompted for an X list and a Y list. Our X values are in L1. Our Y values are in L2. If we have other lists entered here, second followed by the number 1 enters L1. Second followed by the number 2 enters L2. And then this just tells us what we want the dots to look like. And depending on how fancy your version of the calculator is, you may or may not have a color here. Okay, so now we have our plot set up. Next, we want to say zoom and choose option number 9, zoom stat. That says set up the screen so that our stat plot shows properly. And there we go. That's the same scatter plot by hand that we created in the previous video. And now here in the notes, you see screenshots of that whole process so that you can follow these if you want to create another scatter plot. Now, here's the good news. Not only can the calculator create a scatter plot for us, the calculator can also find the equation of the line that passes through all of those points. In the last section, I mentioned that we were going to have a way for technology to give us an equation given an input-output table. We are at that point. If we have a table showing x values and y values, we're going to see a method of getting an equation from those. So again, we need to have our x and y values entered. So that was in the stat screen. We already have them entered from making our scatter plot. And now we're going to go into stat, into the calc menu, and we're going to choose option 4, lin reg. Lin reg stands for linear regression. And we know this is the one we want because we know this is a linear relationship and we want a linear equation. When we want different kinds of equations, we'll choose different options on this menu. But right now we're going down and choosing number 4, lin reg. Again, we have our x values in L1, our y values in L2. No frequency list. Each of these pairs occurs just once. And now this is a new option, store regression equation. We would like to store the equation that we generate with this. And our goal here is to store this so that when we press y equals, y1 is going to be the equation that we're about to generate. That way we don't need to copy it to graph it. And later on we'll see equations where the numbers are really unpleasant. When we store them, we get the exact values of the numbers. So in linreg, I'm going to go to the store regression equation line. I'm going to press the vars key, go right to the yvars function, and I'm going to choose y1. You could choose any of these if you wanted to. y1 is just the first equation. And now I'm going to say calculate. And now see what we have on screen. It says the form of our equation is y equals ax plus b, and the value a is 8, and the value b is 40. And so that translates to saying that the equation is y equals 8x plus 40. Depending on the settings on your calculator, you might see this r squared and r value. You can ignore those for now. So our equation is y equals ax plus b, where a is the number 8, then we have an x, and b is the number 40. And that's the same equation that we had. Now notice if we press y equals, that 8x plus 40 is stored in y1. If we had not stored that equation, we could just type it in. 8, for entering an equation, we'll always use the x that's up here next to the alpha key, plus 40. Right, so we stored that. We didn't have to type it in. If we had not stored it, we could type it in as well. And now if we hit graph, we see that the line, right, that line is the graph of y1, and it runs through all of the points in our scatter plot. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you in this video is how to clear everything we just did. So I'm going to hit y equals and clear that equation. And then I'm going to hit the up arrow once. And do you see that plot 1 is currently selected? I'm going to hit enter to turn off plot 1 and come back down here. So now I cleared that equation and I cleared the scatter plot. So next time I go to do something on my calculator, I won't still have all of those turned on.